Ever since I was a little boy, I've always been infatuated with superheroes. The idea of normal people gaining superpowers, and then for some reason using them for good to stop supervillains? What kind of 5-year-old wouldn't instantly be addicted to them?
I am the Hourglass, and your time is up.
Little me also loved, surprise surprise, video games. My entire life I've played them, and I've always dreamed of telling a story in the form of one. So, hi, I'm Forgotten Golden Age Superhero number 2763, and this is a story of my game that combines two things I love very much, video games and superheroes. This is the story of Alter, up until now because I'm still working on the game, so just let's start it all out. June 12th, 2017. A little baby me sees an E3 trailer for a game about this no-name superhero called Spider-Man. Bit of a side note, but he was a super niche character and I was a fan of him growing up. He was my favorite superhero growing up, and seeing him get a really amazing looking game adaptation was mind-blowing to a 12-year-old me who was still learning his times tables. Here's the problem though, I didn't own a PlayStation 4, and this game was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. This is a problem that my PS3 and PC only having self would run into. Since it was a PS4 exclusive, I had no way of playing the game. I continued following development, crossing my fingers that it would eventually get announced for last gen or PCs, but no luck. The game came out and everybody loved it. I saw praise for it everywhere I went, from YouTubers, game reviewers, my friends, everyone, and I couldn't play it. However, this inability to play the game only sparked my constant yearning to play other non-Spider-Man related superhero games, most of which I ended up loving. For example, I played all the Arkham games about Batman. I played the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game, which wasn't terrible, I mean, it's alright. I played the Ultimate Spider-Man game, heck, I even played Disney Infinity, the Spider-Man one, hoping it would scratch this itch to play the awesome looking PS4 game, and while all of them were good, none of them quite hit the feeling I was looking for. Finally, I decided if I couldn't have this game, I would just make my own, better version of it. Like, how hard could it be, right? Like, maybe it wouldn't be about Spider-Man, because that's too easy. I'll just change the main character and his powers, and then maybe his backstory and the villains, obviously, and maybe the whole combat system. And actually, now that I think of it, this has nothing to do with Spider-Man. I'm kind of just making my own superhero game. I texted one of my old game developer friends. He and I had worked on many projects before that were superhero related, so I figured me and him would be the perfect pairing. Together we both designed an Ant-Man game, where in the end I ghosted him and never finished the project, a Doctor Strange game, where I ghosted him and never finished the project, and then an Iron Man game, where I also ghosted him and never finished the project. Look, I had a kinda spotty record at this point, but when I hit him up, he was willing to work with me on my ideas. He was a really good story writer, so I gave him the basics of what I wanted, and then I told him, go crazy. And then together, we actually made some pretty cool stuff. We came up with a superhero named Alter. Alter's main ability is to alter his DNA. This gives him the ability to use multiple different powers. However, Alter has a very, very small power reserve, and each power uses up a chunk of that reserve. He can teleport, become invisible, use super strength, or even freeze time. Basically anything you want, but he could run out of powers pretty quick. I know, these are all very, very creative powers. For example, super strength, or freezing time, or teleporting, or being invisible. These aren't the most creative powers, I know, but I think what we've done with the character is pretty cool, and I think his powers are pretty awesome. With actual game development, we built up a super duper basic temporary model. We had some music in the works, which is playing now, and we had some of his powers working really well, in name, teleporting. We kept working on the game, but in the end, tragedy struck. About a month into development, I kinda ghosted my friend. Yeah,
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
even though I promised that I wouldn't quit again, I quit. I lost my drive to work on Alter, and developing the game just stopped being fun to me. But fast forward to August 12th, 2022, the day that I had yearned for forever finally came. The Spider-Man game, the PS4 exclusive, it was gonna be released onto PC. When it came out, I played and finished the game in 3 days. I would wake up, play Spider-Man, find out I ghosted my girlfriend for like 3 hours, respond to whatever she was saying. It honestly wasn't that important because it wasn't Spider-Man related. And then I would play more Spider-Man, sleep, and so on. I fell in love. Even now, after I finish the game, I still always hop on when I have free time just to swing around. While playing the game though, it reminded me of this project again. The game that to me had gotten away. The game that I thought I had the capabilities to make, just not the commitment I so desperately needed. Since then, I've made multiple projects, finishing a bunch, and gaining that commitment that I never felt that I had. And then, Alter came back to me. This was the project that haunted my every dream. Every movement I did, every game or project that I would start, I would always think back to Alter. And all the drive to work on the game came back. This is where the game's at now. Yeah, so it's not that much. Looking back through my Discord chats, ignoring all my crappy Among Us memes, all the Twitch drama, dead servers, and Nitro ads, I could see that I restarted development for Alter completely on November 11th, 2022. I texted my friend again, and he responded to me saying he was interested in keeping up with the project, just maybe not helping. I guess I burned those bridges. I do understand though, I made a bunch of promises to him and fulfilled none of them, so I'm not mad at him, more myself. But now I had to prove him wrong, and I had to make the coolest, most awesome superhero game wrong to not work with me on the 5th project that he was probably just scared I was gonna ghost him again. So I wanted to make a simple third-person action game, similar to Assassin's Creed or obviously Spider-Man. I'm not looking to make anything nearly as humongous. Spider-Man costed a whopping $100 million to develop, and even though it ended up making almost double that back, most of that probably ended up going to the big execs up at Sony, and my suit and tie collection is very slim, so that means the money probably won't end up going into me. So, I don't know if you've had a good look into my bank account in the past 18 years, but I actually don't have $100 million I could throw into the burning black hole that is game development. This means I'm probably gonna have to chop down my huge idea just a tiny bit in order to make it even semi-realistic to create. I think this is okay as long as in the end I have a project. With Alter, I've decided I want to learn. By the end, I want to be a better game designer, a better level designer, programmer, modeler, marketer, everything. My end goal is for this to be my first real game, not just another crappy itch.io project. First, the MVP. An MVP is the minimum viable product. Basically, it's the bare minimum that I need in order for this project to be called playable. What do I need in mind? For a basic tech demo, I want to get the basic combat done and teleporting implemented. Those are my two big goals. Those are the things that I want to get feeling good when you're playing, because I feel these are both how Alter traverses the map and it's how he fights, which are two very important aspects. I decided I wanted to develop the game in Unreal Engine. It's the same engine used to develop Rocket League, the Arkham games, Fortnite. I want this to be a more linear, level-by-level superhero experience. More akin to Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions than the 2018 Spider-Man game. back to the tech demo, I want to get one level done, and that's a whole level sequence. You know, like it starts off with a bit of basic walking, just a little traversal, maybe you solve a puzzle or two to continue moving forward in the level, and then the main character talks to themselves to inform the player, but also because they are probably a little insane. And then the player gets ambushed by a bunch of bad guys out of nowhere, totally unexpected. He fights multiple waves of them, and then in the end, there's a boss fight. That is what I want for a tech demo. Pretty big, kinda. No, you know, they're not that big. Those are my plans. So, what do I have in the actual game itself so far? After working on this game for a couple of months, I'm really proud of what I've been able to create. I have the basic motion in, the obvious sprinting, jumping, walking, blah blah blah. It's not exactly where I want it to be. I think it actually looks better in my older tech demo than it does now, but it's something that I'm going to work on. I just wanted to get other things feeling better first. The first real thing I started working on was teleporting. Basically what's happening right now is while I'm holding down the teleport button, the game slows down to give the player a little bit of time to decide where they want to teleport to. Then the game sends out line detections to figure out where the player will end up teleporting to based on their left thumbstick. If the line detection hits a wall, it does some calculations to find the top of the wall, so the player teleports there. Once the player releases the teleport button, they smoothly teleport to the location they picked. Also, check out the cool animation that's playing while the player enters and exits the teleporting mode. It's pretty cool, right? You know what else it is? It's one of them things called marketplace assets. Yeah, marketplace assets. I'm gonna use them. I don't have the time or ability to make games this ambitious without getting a little bit of help from other people. Whether it's models, materials, textures, sounds, heck, even some code if I can. If there's a marketplace asset that will help me develop this project quicker and make the project overall better, I'm gonna use that. I know some people could be opposed to the fact that I'm using pre-made assets, but I believe they really will help me speed up the game development process. If this disappoints you, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna use them, so that sucks. If you don't know, Unreal Engine has like 5 free marketplace assets every month, and some of these could be pretty expensive and very helpful things. I've been building them up and not using almost half of them because I convinced myself if I used them in the project it wouldn't be 100% mine. As if me using a model of garbage on the floor was gonna discredit all the work that I do myself. It's dumb. So, if a marketplace asset is gonna help me make this game better, it will be used. This isn't a democracy, it's a monarchy, so you can go complain in the comments after you like and subscribe, and then maybe I'll Photoshop your account profile picture on a guillotine, right before it gets beheaded, like Ned Stark. Glad we're on the same page. Combat. I've gotten some of the combat done, and oh my god. I never want to work on combat in a game ever again. I don't understand how so many games have working combat, because all it does is make me so mad and so frustrated, because nothing ever works. Here's basically how combat went. I'm modeling my combat off of Assassin's Creed Unity. I feel like that game hits the perfect middle ground of everything being a superpower trip where you, the never touched grass League of Legends gamer, can beat up everyone and you can feel above the poor basic enemy AIs. But it's also difficult enough that if you go in without a plan and you aren't 100% ready for battle, the AI will know. And the poor basic AI will beat you up, stomp on you while you're on the ground, take a picture of their ass with your phone, and then leave it so when you open your phone the next morning, all you see is a picture of their butt. Yeah, they're dangerous, dog. Now, with my game, I started just trying to get the basic animation playing. And this was simple enough. You press the attack button, and Alter does the attack animation. Nice. Right after this, I learned that maybe I wasn't as well equipped for this game as I thought I was. To show you this better, I bring you to my GitHub history. GitHub is basically an outside app that I use to save my current progress in case something game-breaking happens and destroys my project. GitHub gives me the ability to go back to an older save and undestroy my project. Anyways, look at these names that I did for my saves. You could see that I finished teleportation on November 22nd. After that, I started combat and enemy AI. Okay, looking good. Looking good. And then, I cleaned up all my blueprint spaghetti code. Nice. Sounds very responsible. And then, oh, this this is where it starts. I named my update Lots and Lots of Yoiks. And then right after, I named 3 back-to-back content. I took a short break right here, started working on level design. And then right after, I went back to combat. And then the combat was spinning, and now we're here. All of this was just on getting this dumb combat to work. Not even well, just to work. Now, what could have possibly happened during development of combat to warrant all of these titles? Well, I tried like 100 different methods to get the combat to work. I used different combinations of multiple animations in one set, and then I tried using multiple animations and then compiling them together in the editor. And then I started playing them right when the key was pressed, but then that felt wrong, so then I started playing them after each animation was finished. But then that took too long, and then it felt like Alter needed a breather after every single attack, which is kind of the exact opposite of heroic. Like if a superhero came to save me, and then ran out of breath halfway through and then left me to die, I don't think I would be super appreciative of that. I eventually did get it to work, only to figure out, ta-da! It feels terrible. Why is this, you may ask? Well, the player was locked into one location, so Alter would start the combo facing one direction, try changing directions mid-combo to hit someone to his side, or maybe behind him, and I didn't have this coded, so Alter would ignore your desperate pleas to turn around, and he would continue punching in a straight line. Once I got that coded, and by the way, me putting that in one sentence is undermining it greatly. Figuring out how to do that was a good 3 or 4 days of me banging my head on my desk, so much that when I turn 60, Mike Tyson's gonna be jealous of the head injuries that I have. But then, everything started feeling nice. The birds all chirped in my backyard when I woke up. The cold morning mist hit me. I smiled, happy that I was never gonna have to deal with that sort of pain and anguish ever again. And then I remembered that I had to program the AI for the combat. Yeah, this was one of my first real times experimenting with the behavior trees and the blackboards and intelligence, which my mom reminds me that I don't have. It was very difficult for me to grasp, but I eventually kinda had it. The AI was working, it was just very janky, and then half the time the AI would just break and then end up staring into your soul, maybe looking for a deeper connection and the feeling that is love that their poor artificial hearts would never ever be able to feel. But that was like really dumb, so I had to redo everything. I ended up using a similar system to the one demonstrated in this video by Mix and Jam. The link will be in the description below. But the concept was made in Unity. I really only needed the concept, and then I was able to transfer it all over with code in Unreal Engine. But basically what's happening is the AI can be in 4 different stages. They could be circling the player, idling, attacking the player, or retreating from the player. A separate overarching game actor assigns each AI in the level a task, with only one attack task being sent out at a time. The AI who's attacking will come, attack the player, and then switch their task to retreating. Once the enemy finishes retreating from you, the overarching game actor will then reassign each AI with a new task, and then so on and so forth. This leads to the AI endlessly whooping your poor, frail super body. And that's it. At least for now. There's still so much work that I have to do to get the AI where I want them to be. They're still very, very dumb. Every time you hit them, it kind of breaks everything, which isn't the best, but hey, it's working. And finally, for my progress, a little bit of snow. Yeah, I know the holiday season already passed, but I was supposed to finish this devlog before the end of 2022. I was able to procrastinate by saying I was working on the dumb AI, but now that the actual video's out, the snow update seems kinda late. And yeah, that's it. That's the first 2 months of Alter, if you ignore like the month that I had before I ghosted my friend the first time. If you're interested in keeping up with the project, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to send some help, maybe so we could get closer to that $100 million budget that we need, check out my Patreon. Anything is really a humongous help. This is currently a solo only project, and seeing support would kind of show me, hey, maybe it's not only me who wants to see Alter's journey come to life. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I'd love feedback on anything, really. So please just let me know. And I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.